As I traveled, I watched the landscape, lochs and hillsides, the trees still winter bare, etched against a soft gray sky. And all the time, my empty hand moved on my lap, tracing the pattern the branches made, smoothing the lines of the hills. That drawing could be a way of not thinking and a barrier against feeling. I didn't need a psychotherapist to tell me. Once upon a time, I would have whiled away the journey by making up stories, but since Alan's death, this escape has failed me. I had been a writer all my life, professionally 30 years, but the urge to make up stories went back even further. Whether they were for my own private entertainment or printed out and hand-bound as presents for family, whether they appeared in fanzines or between hardcovers, 1,000 words long or 100,000, sold barely 200 copies or hovered at the bottom of one bestseller list, whether they won glowing reviews or were uniformly ignored, my stories were me. They were what I did. Publishers might fail me, readers lose interest, but that story itself let me down was something that had never occurred before. Strange that I could still take pleasure in sketching, because that was so completely associated with my life with Alan that the reminder ought to have been too painful. He had been a keen amateur artist, a weekend watercolorist, and, following his relaxed example, I'd tried my hand on our first holiday together and liked the results. It became something we could do together, another shared interest. I had not painted or sketched since childhood, having decided very early in life that I must devote myself to the one thing I was good at in order to succeed. Anything else seemed like a waste of time. Alan had never seen life in those terms. He came from a different world. He was English, middle class, 10 years older than me. My parents were self-made, first-generation Americans who knew and thought little about what their parents had left behind, whereas his could trace their ancestry back to the Middle Ages. And while they were nothing so vulgar as rich, they had never had to worry about money. Alan had gone to a progressive school where the importance of being well-rounded was emphasized and little attention given to the practicalities of earning a living. And so he was athletic. He could play cricket and football, swim, shoot, and sail, and musical, and artistic, and handy. A good plain cook, he could put up a garden shed or any large item of flat-packed furniture by himself, and prodigiously well-read. But, as he sometimes said with a sigh, his skills were many, useful, and entertaining, but not the sort to attract financial reward. We'd been living modestly but comfortably, mainly on his investments, augmented by my erratic writing income, until the collapse of the stock market. Before we'd done more than consider ways we might live even more modestly, Alan had died from a massive heart attack.